Hey, everybody. Welcome back to KF&JF Podcast. I'm your host, Keith. I'm sure you know by now, this show has always got something going on. And today we have a special guest on our show, and we are so happy to have her here today. And so when you do see the show and you got your hands together, give a big round of applause because this is something that, we need to be praising because she has a lot to share with us. And again, I'd like to thank all of you guys out there for subscribing to the show and the things that you do to support us. As you know, we do have the GoFundMe page going on, and we look forward to your support in that way too. But as you know, this show goes one way. Enough for my part. Here comes the co-host part. Let's go.
Greetings. My name is Razak. I am the CEO and founder of United Minority Business Ventures. My purpose is to help small businesses grow. This means I will assist with the creative process and maintenance of your business. The method to achieve results is simply building a deeper relationship with your customers. I do this by forming opportunities to communicate and collaborate with your followers, subscribers, and other business owners. By using a wide range of networking tools, we will have an understanding for building your business profile, what type of social media marketing fits your productivity and your availability, and building your financial profile, branding your services, product, or merchandise. Together, we may also determine what type of license is needed to operate your business. And does your budget permit the ownership of your own domain or buying into pre existing sites that host your page? I like to drive traffic by managing your website. This allows me to work with you to select posts that create subscriptions, comments, and likes. I also assist by generating comments on other individual business sites or a page that create a dialogue of conversation directed towards your page. I also assist with the creation of the content on your media site. This will be a collaboration of ideas which will reflect on your brand, your work ethics, and the community's need to know what you have to offer them to bring a better quality of comfort to their lives and lifestyle. I can also assist with the writing of content, directing your videos, the editing process, and publishing them on various sites for marketing purposes, advertising, and promotional value.
Like I said, we like to thank Razak for all of the work he's doing out there to help the small business people that are out there that, are working their way through their internet services, trying to figure out how to do their website and all those things. And we really do appreciate his support. But like I like to say, enough of the formalities, man. This is the podcast. Let's just get to the show. Today I want you to be clapping your hands for this person right here as she introduces herself.
Hi, everybody. My name is Mele Taione. I'm CEO of DMR Technologies. You can find us at wearedmr.com. I own a business IT consulting firm. I always like to help businesses of small, medium, or even large enterprises see if their business is running efficiently technology wise. We do everything from drawing in fiber lines in the ground all the way up to cybersecurity, and we will supply the hardware and the software to back it up. And if any of you'd like a team, we'd be able to do that. So this way you could spend more time on your business and allow us to take care of the IT portion of it for you. So you dream it, we'll build it.
See, that's what I'm talking about. She's talking about your dream and she's gonna build it. So, that's some help that we all need because my dream seems to
Dream
be
it.
falling by the wayside. This is part of the podcast. We just try to get to know you a little bit. These questions will be a little bit simple and then we'll dig into some other questions. But what's unique about yourself? What is something that most people don't know about you and that's unique?
For myself, it would be just this. What you see is literally what you get. A lot of times we think that we have to be the bigger entity or the bigger enterprises in order for us to get access to certain tools that will allow our business to run efficiently. Whereas I like to think of myself being knowledge is power. Instead of you walking into 3, 4, 5 different stores to try to figure out or talk to how many people, You sit with my team and we will literally, what we want to do is what you're doing for me. Listen and hear about your business. What is your dream? Where do you project to be? And we will sit there and build a technology plan that'll follow you and grow with you. I come from a builder's background, so literally I can build it from the ground all the way up to the cloud.
You keep on, helping people like this. You building their dreams and you're building their clouds. Man, next thing you know, they ain't gonna have much to do but just to sit back and spend their money. I'd like to ask you about the name of the business. How did you know, what was the foundation for starting your business? Can you give us a little bit of background about you and that area?
Um, So I got it from the honest truth is my business started because I worked for someone who did this. They serviced 92% of the national parks here and also a few other larger entities. And when going about it, I was brought to the corner where nobody really took me serious in the office. But with IT, it's so boring and tedious that nobody can really, they could do well behind the desk, but they weren't good as far as people facing, right? So I got the pleasure of going out there, talking with people. And then when I was doing it, I come from small business. That's my bread and butter. That's what I grew up on. And not just any, but construction. So I was like, all of this that I was doing to help them and to help other people grow, what about me and mine? What about my mom and my uncles and them who are out there literally working hard when they probably didn't need to hit the pavement so hard, and they could have been a lot bigger than they are now, as successful as they are. So that's where this started was I wanted to empower others to know this knowledge and to be able to, right? To be able to do what they like and what they're there to do in their specialty and their field. And we could take a lot of this part off of the plate for them, and then to be able to do it at minimal and not have to come in with such high, prices, but high expectations, because you want to have a high expectation for all of the businesses that you sit with. It's their dream. You don't want to come in, you know, below. You always want to come in with them and push them to grow.
Well, I think that's
Push
so
them to
important the
grow.
way you do what you're just hitting so many different points as far as motivating someone to be able to have a dream, follow their dream, and then have their dream actually fulfilled. And that's just such a powerful thing. Talk a little bit about your education and where you've got that and how it's put you in a position to have a business of this sort.
Perfect. So I'm a high school diploma. I don't have, you know, not that degrees aren't anything. It's just I literally am what you see is what you get. I graduated high school, and from there, I was very much lucky and blessed, as I like to say, that um, thanks to my trials and tribulation, I'm able to be where I'm at now because it built me and pushed me and allowed me to break out of a lot of shells and learn more things on how to elevate and grow. Right. So in this year, I came from a construction background and a medical background, but I went through a divorce. And in the divorce, it was like you had to find your own bread and butter. And I decided, why limit myself to one thing? I might as well just put an application out there and get in. And for some reason, I went in and interviewed, and I showed up to the wrong training class. And my training class was supposed to be for inbound customer service at this business. But when I got into the class, they gave me the wrong room number, and I ended up in the IT training class. I cried for the whole 2 weeks. So I was like, I don't know none of this. I didn't get into this. I barely passed it when I was in school. So, going in, the hustle was real. You had to literally come in and fake it till you made it type of thing. And gratefully I scored high and, got to continue in that. I'm going to call it a job now, what I thought was a career. And like I said, coming in, Fast forward, another life-changing experience happened to me, and I ended up working for the company that I told you about. That company um, opened this possibility. COVID hit, so everybody had to let go, and I'm a single mom, so I happened to be out on a date, and the gentleman that took me out, he had a phone call that came in, and I told him he was going to lose that deal. First, I told him he was rude because he should have stepped away, but he took his call right in front of me, and I told him he's going to lose his thing to get back on the call. I won the deal, and he told me you shouldn't be working for someone, you should be doing your own. So then that's where this business came, and I kind of was just like, well, beats a bouquet of flowers. And then I finally came to a conclusion when it was my turn and I was let go. I was like, well, I don't have a choice. I did it for him, for the guys that I was working for. I've been building businesses for everybody. It's my turn. So then doing this has become my passion because now, as I am learning to grow my own business, I've learned that there's been a lack of knowledge and lack of empowerment as far as getting this information out to folks, what they can have, what tools they're able to use, and, what they needed for their business so that they can move a lot more smoothly and more successfully.
I really do like that. It's just a powerful statement to know how to act as a gentleman. For that fact alone, and just to have a woman next to you that knows how to tell you didn't act like a gentleman, you're gonna lose something. That's pretty powerful. But along this line, I'm gonna pass it over to Razak. Is that you know construction? People think of they say, okay, well, if she's in construction, that's mainly a man's world as far as being, with tools and the mind and the measuring and all of that. Tell me how you adapted to that, and then tell me what you found was one of the biggest challenges for you.
Well, I love it. You're right. Construction is a male dominant world, which, you know, tis what it is. Our history here made it to where we as women stayed home. But fast forward to where we are today, it's still a male dominant world because everybody's still learning their place. This line of business that I'm in, it just became natural because it too is a male dominant world. It's actually quite honestly a older Caucasian male dominant world. So to have someone like myself, sit where I do, where I own my own, it's kind of funny because I literally just had this discussion with a few of my colleagues where when I show up, a lot of the bigger entities don't really pay much attention to me because they think I work for someone. And then they'll see, there goes the labels and whatnot. And they're like, oh, wait, she's a CEO. She's the one I've been looking for. And I have a unique name where nobody can really tell if it's a female or male unless you're of the Polynesian descent or know of anybody from it. So I love this because of the challenge. It's like I tell my brothers, just that adrenaline that you guys get when you hit the field for the first, time or every time you hit the field for the game. That's what it is for me. I come in, I am what I am. I know when to play the feminine card and also when to stand strong.
Well, I'm
Stand
sure you
strong.
do because you're doing that right now. You're standing strong right now, and I want these men to know, including the one on the other side of this camera that's on the right hand side of my picture. So, Razak, on you, man. Take it.
All right, all right. Yeah, you got some powerful statements there. You know what I mean? Because that's one of the challenges of the world of when you're in a male dominated career and you're still getting in there and making your own way, so to speak. You know what I mean? And people are and it's funny that you had said there that they see you and they think you're an employee, but you're actually a CEO and you have your own company. That says a lot about the people, their mindset when they're looking at other people. You know what I mean? They're putting themselves of such a high standard that they're looking down on everybody, and they just assume that if you're not either acting a certain way or carrying yourself a certain way or surrounded by a certain group of people, then that you must be just an employee. You know what I mean? Or
Yep.
you're just somebody who's just, and that's wild. That's wild. That's crazy. But okay, so so this question is okay, what do you think are the most exciting developments in the technology right now, and how do you see them shaping the future?
Well, AI is a big topic for everybody. And I love it because it's one of those like hit and miss type of thing. Because it's evolving so much, it's been one of those where I need it, I want it, I want it. And I liken it to the iPhones, right? Where everybody's like, oh, it's a 16. I want the 16 because it's got the latest. But I love to see where it's going to go. As far as AI is concerned, there's a lot of things where it works for certain entities, but it doesn't work for everybody. And then there's obviously with Elon Musk and his internet connection and, coming in with the EV stations. Those are a lot of things where I'm really curious to see where it goes as far as the integration of things. Cybersecurity is huge and is one thing that a lot of people don't look at as far as their business concerned because, it's like, I'm going to say for myself, I seen it on TV, but until it actually happens to me, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is real. So that's one that I like where they are really, there's a lot of entities out there that are saying that they're capable of, but to go with the right vendor for your right team for your company is crucial because you don't want anybody to have your information here or anywhere. So.
Right, right. Yeah, that's always we're always thinking of what is it? Identity theft and stealing your financial information. Getting your computer hacked. We're on computers right now. Or scam. What you call it? You use your credit card at a machine. Somebody can scam your number or whatever. I forgot what it's called, but they basically get your information on your card also.
And a lot of
You know
people
what?
don't know that it sits dormant for 3 years. Most of the time, it'll sit dormant for 3 years before you actually notice it. So they've been in there just coasting on your background, taking notes until it's that prime time to hit. So.
Now, that goes right to this question right here because I didn't really actually hear you mention it. I mean, he asked you earlier, but okay, what inspired you to pursue a career in technology, and how did you get started in the industry?
I wasn't the athlete in the family. I come from my family is so cool, you guys. I have athletes, I have great singers, like you name it. You probably have seen one of them play on your favorite team. I wasn't that girl, but they did look good with their uniform because I was that girl. I was always the one in the background that was taking care of business, getting whether it was your clothes, finances, and then with the business, it was trying to keep things in order. This year was fun for me because, like I said, it was gifted to me by this gentleman. And when I went in to do it, I loved it because I can. This allowed me my own little space where I don't know if you guys have siblings, but you know how you have a big, older sibling and he's like the star player on the football team. Then the younger one comes and it's always like, oh, your big brother did it this way. So I was that, it was like, oh, well, everybody is in construction or college education and all of this. And I was just mom, big sis. So with this, it was a lot of fun because it was something that I never thought anyone in my family would be able to or were, known for. So I wanted to pursue it because it was like no one can tell me my standards because nobody knew it. And then I wanted to prove that I can, that I could do this. And despite all my hardship, because like I said, I was a single mom with 4 kids and trying to figure it out. So this year pushed me to quench that thirst and to build for my entity, for my legacy, to build my legacy. And in doing so, I realized that there's so many people out there with businesses and dreams that they needed help, but nobody was there to honestly give them the help. It's like, I know this, but and I say this so humbly, a lot of us and ours, we keep it like, no, I'm not going to tell them. I'm not going to tell them. Like, we're the first one to pull each other down from that crawl up, or the first one to not support each other. So this was for me, is like, no, this is for us. We too can do this, and we don't work for anyone, and nobody's going to tell me how I do this or how I'm going to show up. You're going to want me just like you want that iPhone. You're going to seek us out, and you're going to find out that we're stronger together. So it's my drive for this.
Yes, that was nice. That was nice.
Man,
Sounds
I
like we're gonna
just
have to make
I
a
kept
short out of
coming.
that right there. We're gonna need like a
Yeah, I
side
wanted to
clip
keep
with
that
that.
for a second, man. That was awesome, and I kind of lost my train of thought because I was mesmerized in the beginning. I stopped listening. It seemed like my brain just like, oh my goodness. So I'm gonna have to come back. You guys go ahead on with the show right now. I'm just out of it right now.
Yeah, yeah. Um, okay, so all right, now earlier you were saying like, okay, well, your construction part of it, people are dreaming it, what I mean, you guys go out there and build it. So with this, which is how do you think technology can be used to address social and environmental issues, and what responsibility do tech companies have in this regard?
Like, what kind of issues? Because that's a loaded question there. But I would say this: as far as technology goes, everything can be used one way or another, right? The pencil can write you a great story, or it can write you your demise. You know what I mean? Like, same pencil, different results. IT is the same way. I feel like with IT, when it comes to business, we have to remember that there are certain times where we're going to be sold on the latest and greatest, but we're not quite there yet. So you're going to pay for the latest and greatest and have all of these tools that you're not ready for, nor financially ready for, right? And it's like, why? Why would you? Where now you want to tailor it to where you're at currently and where you're projecting to go. And then you want to put the right priorities in the right places. Like, I'm working with a nonprofit in LA. We did an audit with them. And let me tell you, it was so powerful for me to walk in and to see those of mine, right, standing there talking to me. And when I did the audit, it broke my heart because we were able to see that they were paying for stuff that, they really has just been sitting on the shelf, but just to say that they had. And I was like, you could have dedicated that funding and those monthly payments to what you really need that, initiated you calling me. And even the ones that they were working on, a direct competitor of mine was over, charging them just because they were for the dollar signs instead of for the people. I'm like, I truly believe when you're for the people and with the right intentions, the dollars, you're always provided for. Call me spoiled, but that's my outlook. Good
No,
begets good, and
that's
love
it.
begets
Yeah.
loyalty. So,
Mm.
Yes, yes, yes,
Man, that was
yes.
a quote, man. We might need you to put that on the shirt or something. Oh, you're on mute.
I said, I'm sorry. You're gonna have to do some real work.
I heard that. You're mentioning a lot of good things and interactions that you've had, with people, and the mindset that they have they're graced, or they blessed with your presence. Can you share a project or a product you worked on that you are particularly proud of, and what makes it stand out to you?
sometimes when you go, so we're American, right? First world. But I am from Tonga. I'm a third world country. And, it's pretty funny because I had my sister come and visit me from Australia. And she went through. I was like, oh, I gotta go get money, drive through. Oh, I gotta go get ice cream, drive through. Oh, I gotta go car wash. Here, let's just drive through. And she was just like, you guys are so lazy. And I was like, no, we're not. We just did all of these things. But she was like, the convenience of it. So when it came to IT, during COVID, it was really hard for those that travel. I travel a lot for my business, and it was like I would get somewhere and that signal wasn't good. Go somewhere else, that signal wasn't good. It's like the big phone line companies I go, we would know Verizon's good at some, not so good at others. So are the other entities, right? Not to name too many of these brands, but I got to come in early with one of my vendors and test out to where on the back end, instead of a hotspot that you're limited to just one of the cellular data plans, you are still, you're paying for a singular data plan, but backed up by different companies and entities, so that was cool for me because then it was, I lived up in Prescott, which is, if you're not familiar with Arizona, it's kind of like up in Timbuktu, up in the mountains, and you don't get very good reception depending on where you are. So this was fun where I was able to test out data signals in remote places and still enable, the tow truck companies up there to run their loads, communicate with the PD, their local PD, and also, dispatch. So that was fun. And then, to put it on a drone and play with it when I was camping, that's also fun. So that way, those who have the idea of doing their own, remote offices where a lot of them are going in RVs and things like that, that was fun. So I like that. That was a fun project I worked on. And it all stemmed off because I like the greater outdoors. And I went and sat down in Mexico. I ordered me a drink on the boat on the beach, and they wanted to take my credit card back to the little hut. And I was like, no. And so he was like, well, you're gonna have to walk to the hut. I was like, that's inconvenient. I'm already on the beach. So this helped me because then I was able to build a little PVC contraption, because thanks to my uncles and them, we could do this, and put this device in it that allowed them to bring the point of sale to me and my drink. So I'm not getting up from the beach to go and get me my pina colada. So that was a fun project that I got to work on, and they're able to they're able to patent that, and I'm able to offer that to my clients.
Okay. Okay.
Convenience, you
Um,
guys. I know.
Convenience.
I'm starting to understand. I'm starting to understand that you're not going to be just waiting on stuff. You're just trying to make
Yeah.
sure. No, you're going to have to bring that to me. That's what them engineers and I tech,
Man.
that's what those people do. They try to find ways to make it easy.
Hmm. Well, yeah, yeah. Oh, and well, this goes towards that too. What do you think are the biggest challenges facing the technology industry, or your specific industry today, and how do you think they can be addressed?
I'm gonna go back to cybersecurity, because that's the biggest part, right? When it comes to your business, it's like your own personal identity. A lot of people are like, "Oh, business, they think, oh, with business, I don't know, it's not going to happen to my business, but it would only, like, you would protect your own identity, your own social, but you would hesitate to do for your business. And so that's where it is. Like, I don't know if you've watched the news lately, but these huge conglomerates are getting hacked, and folks like me are sitting there laughing, like, yeah, had you had me on that team, you wouldn't be going through this. Or whoever is the me that is covering your IT is probably over there, poopy dooping themselves, because that was something you should have already had in the background going, because it's really important. Like I said, a lot of us, when we do this, we don't think of these things. We're more like, okay, we got to sell our t-shirt, we got to build our warehouse to do this, but we don't tend to think of protecting that. Your business is it's your body. It's as important as it is to make sure you're alive. But like I said, when it comes to that, that's what I'm going to hit. That's important a lot. Phone lines, yeah, cosmetic. It's easy breezy. You could get your cell phone lines, business lines, get your UCAS, CCAS, all of that. But if you're not taking the time to hold what's dear and near to you safe, it'll cost you all of it. I had one of my best friends who's been in this line of business for years, and she did hardware, and this was one thing where she's like, oh no, no, no. She's like, I didn't think anybody would hack me. I was like, yep. They don't just go after the big entities. They got to make their today money too, guys.
He said today money. We want to make it today. I I got another question or so, and then we kind of bounce it back and forth between me and Keith with the questions. So what would you say? Let me get to make sure I word this right. How do you think technology can be used to promote diversity and inclusion, and what steps can companies take to ensure that their products and services are accessible to everyone?
I'd say team up your business and my business, and they will not have a crack that hasn't already been molded and covered for them. You want to make sure that as far as your social media goes, that you're there, you're relevant, silly thing, nothing is too big or too small. It's only what you make it. So in technology, when using it, you want to be in alignment with the right people that are there for you. It happens that way where we get with I have a buddy, they do this, but you want to make sure they're there for you and understand your goal. Because my job is to do what you want. But with my specialty, I should be game for you, not just for the bottom line. If they're for the bottom line, of course they're going to pitch everything to you. You're going to need the iPhone, you're going to need the accessories, you're going to need the little light to go with it, you're going to need, you're going to need the AirPods, the watch, all of that. They took all of that budget, but you still need Outlook and email account. You still need, your own domain. You still need all that, but I convinced you, because I'm your IT specialist, to get all of this and the accessories, that your budget for what you still need is still left, is now depleted, but you still have that necessity that still needs to be filled. So for me, I like to always tell people, I'm like, you want to go with someone that's for you. And just like I am not for everyone, you want to make sure you get those that are for you and ensure that they are for you. And sometimes getting others in, that do the same exact thing that I do, to get a second opinion like you would with your doctors, I would go for it. I don't take offense. You want to go bring someone else to compare with services that I offer, I actually recommend it, and, would offer a list for you to look, because every penny does count. And it's not just the end deal of buying this and going for it, but of your growth. And like you said, it's your dream and you want it to grow. Or if that's where you're satisfied, you still want it to function the right way, the way you want it. It's your brand. It's your dream. Get you a team that's going to make it happen.
Get you a team that's going to make it happen. That's kind of what we be thinking on the podcast. We're teaming up with everybody, trying to make something happen. That's right.
Yeah, I don't do what you do, Zach, but like I said, thanks to you, you'll complete parts of what I do, and I would be able to support parts that you do. Just knowing and having someone like you that I know of makes me even more efficient, because then I'm like, I know Razak, he's good, he's got you. It's.
Yeah, yes, that is. You can say that, yeah. Okay, I'm going to ask you this, and then after you answer this, we're going to pass it back to Keith. Can you discuss any notable breakthroughs or advancements in technology that you are particularly excited about, and why? And this is dealing with, because you're in your business, there's certain technologies that are happening that you guys can use. So like in the future sense, or what's coming up that you may know of, or that's something that you're about to get, or something that excites you, and why?
I think technology is so vast, And there's so much that goes into it. With me, I really like the fact that they're streamlining a lot of things, right? Like they're making it to where we're not having to go to 15 different places, but just a few. And then they're coming out a lot stronger as far as I like the fact that I can have an office here, one in Australia and one in UK, and we all can be somewhat on the same platform depending on how we set this up. I like the fact that I can bring this capability to remote places. That we're building it up so much that we can. Um, Still, like I said, AI is the hottest topic right now, and everybody's looking at it, and so am I, just to see where it's going because it's constantly evolving, but so quickly. Like if you look at the advancement of Apple phones, I use that often because that was the joke of the day, to today is crazy. But then you look at Android was there 5 years ago. And where's Android going? I'm like, ooh, you know, we went from knocking on the doors, going to a payphone in high school to today, my 12-year-old FaceTiming me like, kid, call me. I want to eat my ice cream in peace.
Yeah, it's yeah. We definitely is a new era right here because
Yeah.
somebody was telling me that the other day. I mean, he was like, "Man, this is your era, right? Technology and all this stuff." Because my cell has all these different things on it that I don't need, I don't use. It's just I don't there's no purpose for me. But it's coming with all these different things that it can do, and I like like I go places sometimes and I actively see like people with their faces in their phone. You know what I mean? It's like they don't have no interaction with actual people anymore. And when it comes to that AI, I know it's advanced and it's doing a lot of things. And I just think I always use the terminology that is dumbing down us. You know what I mean? We're not thinking for ourselves anymore. And I have a question for you about that. As far as the AI is concerned, when it comes to construction, when it comes to people that used to just hammers and nails, do you see AI and or technology as far as the machines and stuff taking over that industry too? Because at some point in time, when as the future goes on, you're going to be able to just say, hey, we're going to put this plan in here, we're going to write this down, we're going to type this in, and a machine is just going to be able to build the house for you, or build these things for you.
Everybody looks at me for IT, but I always tell people I'm pro-human, because I like to preserve my own. But yes, the answer is absolutely yes. We have androids or drones that are lifting shopping bags and delivering it to homes. So the delivery service is going to these drones. Same thing with construction. We also see, uh, when it comes to going in, surgical stuff, they're coming in, they're more precise, they're able to see, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, where's the human touch in this? Construction, absolutely. When I showed you the steel frames and things like that, it used to take a project that used to take a year and a half now takes about 3 months to get done from start to beginning. I mean, from start to end, because you plug this into it, you plug it into the machine cuts it. All we're doing is Lego, just connecting it together. And that's not going to be hard in the near future for any of these drones to do. And, as far as AI, I was laughing because I literally just went through a whole thing with the warehouse. And when we went through the assessment, we had to look for smoke detectors. And my engineer is like, well, Mele, what about the vape detectors? And I said, Sugar Plum, say what? And they're like, yeah, we could do the vape detectors up there too. And I was like, this world has gotten to the point where, we're really getting into this, the facial recognition. It used to be something that would go through the larger entities. It's getting so to a point where it's affordable even for the medium-sized businesses now, and soon for the smaller business. So it's like, they're able to gather all that database and make it to the where we in the today can do it. What else? Right? Like, so no security guards at the door when I come in? Who's going to give me my free ticket to get into the concert? If there's no security guard, the robot's like, yay or nay. Sorry. It's just one of those things where it does take a lot of the human aspect of it out of the game. But then when you look at it, there's certain things that they cannot do, and that's the feel. For me, that's where we will always remain relevant, is the feel. So as much as AI can say they can sense this and that, there's no gut. There's no gut feeling in it, where they will always be lacking in that aspect when it comes to IT, in my opinion.
Yeah, I be looking at a lot of that stuff too. As far as the reading a person's emotions, face the face, the words that they may have, the body language. What I mean, if I mean, there's a lot of I should say AI robotics. What I mean, that they're doing, such as prosthetic limbs. What I mean, when somebody has his arm or their leg cut off, and you can still like kind of like wiggle the fingers of the thing. What I mean, they're having this high tech advanced stuff where your brain is can move the computer and all this type of stuff they be having. So I feel at some point in time, where we're not gonna, they're making them so human, like it's just like the movies. Everything you see in the movies is eventually coming to pass, or I like I say, it's already here. We just can't afford it yet, or it hasn't regulated to just have somebody jump in it and fly off, because there's probably gonna be 1,000 more crashes and wrecks, because we're just gonna be going crazy with it. But I see that I see that a lot of these things are, when I look at them, that I think some of them are needed and some of them aren't needed. What I mean, in the sense of replacing employees. Like I work at a warehouse and stuff right there, and they have a lot of AI. Well, it's not. I don't think that's AI stuff, but I guess the computer, because like my laptop has like a AI, that chat thing or something. I can ask the computer and then it respond to me or something like that. But it's really just programming. But like at the job, they have like this programming thing where it picks orders and it goes and gets stuff. And they've seen that a lot of that stuff is flawed in the sense, because human people are the ones that actually put the input. They make all these little back doors and all these different things to how they can fix it. And especially if it's evolving, you get some kind of learning machine, where it learns. So then it depends on what is the person teaching it. What I mean? So there's so many different things that could backfire with this advancement of AI technology, especially when it's self-learning and self-sufficient. But I feel like I just went on a whole lot of stuff.
Keith, you're a tech guy now, so they're definitely
I do the technology. I'm the AI guy for the podcast.
You tech savvy. I think a couple of things on what you've been talking about. I think one, I want to commend you on being, real, authentic, and honest. I think that's a big thing, and we really do appreciate that here on the show. And the other thing I was gonna talk about before, and you had mentioned it about family, somewhat being, you have those that college educated, and those that are not, and then there's me, and then that's kind of like where I am. There's like that's me, I'm just a regular guy, and that's kind of like, so I really feel how you brought that down. I connected to that right away. So I'd like to ask you about company trust. What is some of the things that in the trust factor that you need when you're dealing with not only your customers but with your staff?
You need to understand you first. You need to understand your own company and where it's going, right? Don't lead on somebody else's. As soon as you understand your plan, your goal, your business for you, you will know you will know the person you need for that job, right? Because if you don't understand, if you're coming in, you're like, I theoretically need this, you're gonna get a theoretical person and a theoretical plan. You know, you have to be detailed with what you require, what you need, what your goal is, and they need to understand that too. Say, like for me, I'm limited. I'm not gonna lie. I have a brother that's like super knowledgeable in a different field, and or like Razak and us here, we all have our own field. So long as I stay in mine, I know exactly what I need. I know what my social media wants to be. I know my color scheme. I know, the audience I want. Then I go and I talk to someone like Razak. Can you do this, and that? He comes and he talks to you, and it's in alignment with what you have envisioned and what you're going for. Guaranteed, he's going to bring his specialty that's going to bring yours not only to life, but breathing to where it's going to grow. You have to come in with someone that's in alignment with your views, not you in alignment with theirs. You're not coming in alignment with theirs. They need to align with yours, and if their view is a lot bigger than yours, it still has to be your view. It's your business.
Right.
But I
Don't
love
have
that.
nobody dictate that you're anything but you. You dictate you and yours. They can come and help you grow and build up. It's still yours. Stand on yours, and everybody else will fall in line.
Stand on
I'm
business, huh?
sure, I'm sure knocking balls out of the ballpark, and baseball season is over, and you still hitting them out of the ballpark. So let me ask you: do you work with the government? Do you have contracts with them in certain areas or certain businesses that are out there that you're using your business platform for?
Absolutely. I work on different government platforms, thankfully, because of the way I set up my business. One that I one that I can touch on. I can't really say the business name quite yet, but um, we have a micro school out here, and the owner is a female melanated woman, and I love it because I get to help her. She's like, Mele, I don't have this. I go, look, at the end of the day, I'm just here to share my knowledge with you so that you would grow, because you're setting up to teach our future the history, the right way, and not dictated by others. You're here to empower us and ours, right? And when going through this micro school, I had to tell her, I was like, you do know you qualify for a thing called E-rate, right? And she's like, I don't even know what that is. I was like, girl, that's why you have me. I'm like, you're nonprofit, you're small, and they have government grants for schools like her, where it's called E-rate. And my team will come in. Not only do we do the technology part, but I team up with different entities to where my clients come in and serve other clients. And she's in the middle of sitting down, putting in the application for it so she can get that grant and offer her students that are not of elite, but more of a lower income household. I hate saying that, but offer them the latest in technology and have a data plan set up for them, to where it's affordable because the government pays for, part of it, and they're not coming all out of pocket. So it helps grow a school that I hold dear, like thankfully I get to be part of projects like that. Knowledge is power. I don't have it all, but that's why I like, meeting everybody and what they do, because their specialty would benefit somebody else that I know.
Yes, yes.
Wow, you definitely
We
have.
definitely gonna need that type of information.
Yeah, you
We need them
definitely
type
have
of hookups right there.
Well,
a wide
that's why I
range.
love it. I'm like, as far as the IT part, there's a lot of grants that come in for businesses. And then especially for, nonprofit or charter schools, depending on where you lie and stand, we work with them and get them that E-rate. You still have to pay the same bill to who it is, but somebody's helping you with your bill all day.
Well, we definitely need to be looking into that because that's kind of going to one of my questions I have for you. I just kind of want to get your general idea about, because I was at church today, and after church, this gentleman was telling me about it. He's like, they have sponsorship programs, they have monies to give to the kids in school and all of these different things. But the problem is that they don't have enough um, African American, the people of color, and those types of things actually writing the essay for to get the sponsorship. So they find that at when they go to give these sponsorships out, it's mostly, you know, people that are not like them that are getting them. So I wanted you to talk a little bit about that because I know you're talking about sponsorship and programs that you're doing. Talk a little bit about, have you run into that kind of problem, and do you guys specifically try to cater to certain groups, or is it everybody? And then talk a little bit about that.
Well, I cater to everybody as far as business goes. My passion obviously is for SNRs, but I do cater to everybody. I think everybody should have this knowledge. My thing is, I'm going to say this for my personal experience. We rip and run so much. We spend so much time at work that by the time we get home, do we really have the energy? You know, we already have to address our required, task of us. Whether if you have kids, you still have to tend to them and whatever it is they do. And then apparently, if you don't feed them, there's repercussions for that. And then if there's no roof, no money to pay the roof for it. So our today stuff that we have to do, our today task, is the reason why a lot of us don't even go after it, or we were built to think that could not be us. Like for years, we've watched football, basketball. I mean, gosh, I was so in it to win it when the bad boys were in there with the Pistons and the Bulls. And I was like, yeah, hoorah, all of this. And it was just all superstars. High school came, I met Kobe Bryant, superstar. But my my sibling right after me on my mom's side, there's a whole 9-year difference between us. And it wasn't until then where scholarship was a thing. We were just trying to celebrate, like, graduate high school, okay? Like, because that's something we celebrated like it was the biggest thing ever. And when it came time to these younger siblings, I was just out there grinding to try and make ends meet to get us a better life so we weren't in the ghetto. And then it happened to be one of the coaches was like, can we post this? I was like, no, 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 no. We don't do videos. And he's like, well, so you can watch it. I was like, oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. We like watching our brother, our son, and we were getting into cutting out these articles and things. But it wasn't because we were looking to put together so we can send out for scholarships. It was because we were doing something that was other than, leading us down a rabbit hole or an abyss that we didn't want. And our boys were doing pretty good. And we were just pushing them to graduate high school. And then the day came, and we were one of the people that got to sit down and have signing day. It was such a huge ordeal. You would have thought someone was getting married or something. Like, there was food, there was a DJ. I mean, we made our own parade with all our trucks. So it was a thing, but it wasn't until then that we realize we could and we're able to, right? So when it comes to these scholarships, a lot of us don't know where to go. And then a lot of us, when we're told about it, we don't know how to fill it out. But we're not going to sit there and be like, oh, yeah, we're going to sit there and say yes, because that's what we do, because we've got that pride. But when do we, as those that are able to offer these scholarships, sit down with those we want to give these scholarships to and help them fill this out, help them with the verbiage for it? Because I work with an entity out here in Arizona, and they give out free laptops. I posted this, I sent out, and they're like, Mele, we gave it to them, but nobody. I was like, wait, who do you think needs it? And they would tell me, XYZ. Great. Are they local, close to me, or do I need to travel? And when I traveled, I tell you, all 4 of the families I went to and said, hey, what day is available for you? None of it benefited me, but just the fact that someone can sit with them and get through it. And then when they win it, they'll be back for more. But it's that initial state where we're like, we have all of this, we keep offering it to them, but nobody comes. That's because nobody knows the map. You just handed it to them in another language. Sit down. How did you get to where you got? It wasn't because of it. No, sit down. Somebody had to teach you how to read. Sit down. Someone had to teach you how to write these papers. Sit down. Because these parents, like myself, high school diploma. I don't know how to write a college paper. I got children that do that though. I got college degrees, I got a few bachelors and masters, none of it in my name, but I'll sure call them and they write my paper for me. It's like, but to have someone tell me that my kid can get this, I want it. Yeah. For me to sit down and do it now, yes. Before, the majority of us, no. We barely made it through. Be honest.
Yeah,
Mm.
you're definitely honest right there, and that's something that you know it's a two-way street, right? We can't just expect the kid to be able to sit there and say, you didn't get it. They're not trying to give it to you. Well, are you sitting down? Are you working with them? Are you getting them in a position to do what's necessary to fill out the paperwork or be seen? And that's kind of really piggyback off of what the podcast is about, right? We're all trying, and Razak and I is trying to put in the position for us to be seen, our business to
Mm-hmm.
be seen, the knowledge to be seen. And just like you were saying with the high school diploma, it doesn't mean you have to have all of this, educational background to be seen or to start a business, to be a part of a business, to learn. So all of those things are important, but you're absolutely right. It's definitely a two-way street where we have to participate in our kids future and some of the benefits that are out there waiting for them that they're just not tapping into. So what else can you say to the youth, that someone that wants to get in your field and try to become a tech person or a construction person, something like that? What do you say to them?
Reach out. Reach out. You have nothing to lose. You're already not doing it, so reach out. Because we'll say yes. A lot of times with us, I'm sure with you too. I want to learn about what Razak does. I reach out to him and say, hey, how do I do this? Could you show me how to do this? Oh, absolutely. There's more yeses than there are nos, but you got to make that call. You got to take the initiation. And then there's also like out here in Arizona, it's funny because we're literally starting that. We are starting it to where we want to train others in our specialty. Because even though I know a lot about IT, I know nothing when it comes to putting my stuff in trusts. So financial advisement, am I do I what no. Again, I like that I am part of something to where someone there is going to be teaching and I can attend. We're great at what we do great in, but greatness comes in our village that we build and we're able to share, because that's where it all starts. And with our youth, I'm for it. This program we leave for them. We hold it together so that they too can, like everyone, as a parent, I always tell them, I want you to stand on my shoulder, but I got to set my foundation strong so that I can make that squat and stand up. So I'm not on my knees. I'm not sitting down. We're going to get you up there. Same with others. I have more nieces and nephews that are not of my shared DNA because they have showed that they do want. This is something I want. Great, let's go. We'll figure it out. Even if it isn't. The thing is, if it's not in like, for me, you come up to me for I'm in IT and you ask me about football, I got a person. Most likely, I got a person. And if I don't, most likely, I have a person that'll get you there. And that's about as far as it'll go. We always have a person or a person that'll get you there.
Networking.
I really like
Hmm.
that. I think that that's something that you're saying that really points to um, part of the struggle that we have as a community. Is we kind of trusting each other to be able to assist us instead of thinking, oh, you're just trying to take something from me, or maybe you're not really trying to help me. So I think this question that I have, and I'm gonna pass it over to Razak, kind of gets to some of that, is mental health. Talk about how you handle your family, your business, and you know, all the other dreams that you have, and not only your own dreams, but the dreams that you're trying to fulfill for others. Mentally, that's a drain and a lot of work, I would think. Won't you explain yourself on that?
This is a topic I I didn't expect it to come up, but it's an important topic. Before we get to all of everything else, mental health is one that's overlooked so much. And it's one that is, we label everything else but what it truly is, and we don't give it the value that it should be given. We're just as much as we need to breathe, we need our mental health. We need to spend time on our mental health too. I sit before you today as, like I mentioned earlier, Miss Diamond World. I had to look up and read my own title, Miss Diamond World, because I needed to break something of me. And that was, I wasn't one that was very much comfortable in my skin. I dwell in my authenticity, but I wasn't as authentic as I thought because I wasn't comfortable in my skin. I had carried with me labels that were set upon me because they thought that was them being humble. Like my mom, and I say this lightly because it was the best that she knew, right? That this is the best that she knew to do. So not saying that she was a horrible mom, but in her best that she could do, she thought calling me the ugly one was, teaching me to be humble, was teaching me to you know, walk conservatively and be humble. And she, unbeknownst to her, that's not the right way to do it. You don't go around telling your kid she's ugly and thinking that she's going to be humble. That just is not right. So I had to carry that for many years. I'm 43, gentlemen. So that's a lot of years, right? And so coming with that and having my own girls, I would always tell them that they were beautiful and that they were built strong and smart. I didn't build anything otherwise. And my girls had to leave my side for the first time to go to my mom, for health reasons or for personal reasons of my mom's request. And for the first time, I didn't have them. And for the first time is when I realized, I was like, hey, girls, I call them every morning. Girls, can you check this out? I got to go. They would look at my outfit. My daughters are like, Mom, we just realized you actually don't have a mirror in your room. And I was like, well, yeah, it's okay. Just tell me how I look so I can hurry up and go. I'm running late. They're like, no, get a mirror. And I'm like, tell me how I look. So it was that, like, she was 13 at the time. And she told me, she said, Mom, you're beautiful. You tell us this all the time. And I was like, yeah, you guys are beautiful. They're like, you too. Okay. No, Mom, you're beautiful. And it was like, as authentic as I was in everything, when it came to my own physical being, there was a huge drop in that, which meant I wasn't 100% authentic, So that was the thing, is I had to go through and learn. For me, and the way I grew up, manipulation was an art term. Triangulation was non-existent. So I didn't even know that word existed in English. And then for manipulation, it was, we're in construction. So when we did the gun nighting for, the fake rock features or anything like that, that's all I knew it to pertain towards it. I didn't know for me personally. So I really am an advocate for it, for taking the time for you, for your mental health. In fact, with my team, I run a sales team, and when they're like, dude, these phones are giving me something, I'm like, get off, put yourself in coaching. I don't have the time because I'm in meeting, but put yourself in coaching. Anybody above me can ask me and I'll take accountability, but get off the phone. I'm like, it's not that important. Me making a sale and it's not that important. Me having you long term is, me building rapport with you and then losing you, it's not. So mental health is very, very important, for leaders and for everybody else. But it all starts at home, and it starts in our community too. Like, this was a thing amongst my own community where we couldn't say, like, oh yeah, my daughter's beautiful. They'd be like, girl, stop bragging about your kid. She's not that pretty. It's like, no. Like, if not us, then who? If we don't do this, who? And do you really trust those who's? Get it together.
Let's take a minute to think about that, people, because I think that
Mhm.
is kind of what, and I know Razak, plays a big part in trying to push that narrative about, the star, the other people that we look up to, the people that we think are really, um, something we should admire. When really, like you say, it starts right at home. It starts
Mm-hmm.
at where you start to build that foundation for what's important and what you should be really looking at, and that's yourself. And beauty is in the eye of the beholder for one, but it's also within you. And so don't let nobody take that away from you, and don't look at something on the wall or something on the TV that you seem to find refuge in. But I really do appreciate that, and I think that that's a powerful point, and I will be using it. Razak, on you.
Please do.
Man. Well, you're making a lot of sense in everything that you're saying as far as the standards of how people are seen. You know, I do think encouragement is within. You know what I mean? If nobody else believes in you, you have to believe in yourself. You have to be self motivated. Me myself speaking on the subject. You know what I mean? A lot of times in the past, and kind of recently, almost. You know what I mean? You if you're not getting people who are, how should I say, rooting for you. There's a question he hasn't asked it yet, but I guess I'm gonna jump the gun. The people that don't ride for you. There's people that not everybody's rooting for you. Not everybody's on your team to see you do good. Or they might have high expectations of you. And if you're falling short of what they expect you to be when they want you to be it, I mean, it's like they look at you differently. They might treat you differently, in in my kind of aspects. It's more like, I'm trying to build the business and the network where the podcast, we're trying to get somewhere. But I mean, we have to take it in steps. We have to go in levels, I mean, and we have to count on the people who we have interaction with, and we're trying to network with such as yourself, I mean, and if you guys, as in a whole, everybody want to also continue the network, because a lot of people we try to build separate things with, I mean, like we have guys that we had a financial guy, he was doing stocks and stuff, so we was trying to build something on the side with him. We have a lot of military men and women that we was running across, and we was trying to build a dialogue of something separate where we can be together with that, and try to project something different that the podcast can also do. We also have our our sponsorships that we're trying to do. We also have the donation thing that we're all trying to uplift and make sure that that I mean, you're in the spotlight right now. I mean, and that reflects on us trying to push and promote you as a person of worth, what I mean, and beauty and stuff like that, to give you that confidence to keep going, because that reflects on how we are in thinking of other people, that makes us feel good. So helping you is making me feel good, that we're here and we're able to do this, and the interacting is not also reflected. How like some people might say that I'm only doing this, so like they're always expecting a thank you, or what I mean, something like. I said, well, if you're always expecting that I'm going to do this for you, I'm going to do this for you, and then somewhere down the line you're like, well, I did that for you, you should be doing something for me, or it's like when people might think you're rude because you don't always like say, okay, well, I did something for you, well, you're welcome. And I'm like, well, oh, okay, well, thank you. I didn't think he was trying to do that for me because you wanted to hear me, some kind of, I mean, acknowledgement that you did it. I think you're doing it just because you wanted to do it. What I mean? So, that is, I think I addressed that as far as like how business is and how the interaction of people are, and then how we kind of get through our network. It's not always an expectation of something in return. It's just something that we feel good about doing. And, and if you have had life full of fails and mistakes and different things that, like you were saying, coming through a divorce, what I mean, or coming through a loss of your spouse, what I mean, then that also gives you joy, because a lot of times when you're coming from relationship wise, and this is business wise or relationship, with a loving relationship or family relationships, a lot of these things in the mental sense kind of project onto your business and the way you conduct business and the way you do
Mhm.
network. So we always try to incorporate, real life scenarios in things that we approach people with. Feel like I just said a lot, but uh,
Well, and you're right,
let me.
right? It's like we can't, like there's certain things that we say and do where it's like, okay, it comes natural to us, and there's others that want that toot, that wants you to toot their horn. But there's also times where we forget to acknowledge that what we did for others, and they may have not been the one to answer the call for us. We can't sit there and gripe on them not answering the call because then we didn't acknowledge the ones that did. So when we sit there and be like, man, I did this for Johnny and this and that, and he didn't even help me out when I needed him, but somebody did. So by you just griping on here, you didn't acknowledge the blessing in the ones that did. So share your energy with those that did, and
Right,
don't be wasteful with your energy giving it to those that did not. Because maybe at that time Johnny wasn't able to answer your call, but he's not going to tell you that. Just there's a lot of things on the back end, but the one that did is the one that we should, and continue to, because like I really believe that energy is what it is. Good begets good, and when you sit there and put your energy into what's progressive, what's there and what's good for you, you know the bad is going to come so that you can acknowledge it and learn from it. That's actually where wisdom comes. The more you fail, the more wiser you get. You didn't get wisdom by sitting here and cruising through this part of it. No, you gain this knowledge by all of the mistakes on the trials that you either witnessed or went through. So you
right.
became great. You didn't start off that way. You know, you were built for greatness. You were brought into greatness. You are great. You were born great. But as far as being the greatest in where you're at and what you're doing, you built it.
You built it, you dream it, believe it, it comes reality. Now, actually, I was saying all that to, I was building up to this question right here. And, so, can you discuss any notable collaborations or partnerships of you been a part of in the technical industry, or through life and other jobs that you may have, and what made them successful?
So I had
Uh,
spoken at Elite. It was a black-owned business conference that they held here in Arizona. They hold it in California, and I believe they're doing Vegas next. But this group of women, they're called Exclusive Elites, and this was a huge thing that they did, and they invited me to be a speaker there. So that's where I met Fran. And then as far as collaboration, I'm all for empowerment. Right now, I'm a part of Black Arizona. Not sure if I was allowed to announce it, but there it went. And we team up together as melanated owned business owners that want to empower our community. We come in. I have this young man. He's phenomenal. Chop, and he owns his own jewelry business. Owns acres and all of this I can't even go through the list, but he's not the only one. We had farmers that attended that, pharmacists, so many doctors. There was all of these people, financial advisors and stuff. We all got together and we decided we're going to team together and build and educate ours and see what we can do to bring up our community to where it has always, pop up to be. Like we look at all of our history, Oklahoma, there's so many cities and places throughout our history where it's shown that we literally came up and we were so great that they had to, wash us out somehow. So that's where we're at. We want to establish it, reestablish it, continue to build it, and empower not just us in the today, but our future. So there's a lot of collaboration with different businesses. I'm always there and willing to see what I can do on my end. If it's, like I said, with this micro school, I volunteer my business and my team to sit there and help them build whatever we can in our specialty for their school because it benefits our future. There's a nonprofit in California I work with, and they're the ones working with first-time home buyers. And I can't really speak on the program that they do because I don't know much about it, but to qualify melanated folks in LA and Temecula, IE area and things like that to buy homes and build their credit. So it's a lot of things. I love what I do because I get to be part of different business entities and learn what I can do in nonprofits. So.
Okay. Okay, and that's what
Well, we're definitely looking forward to you
that's what we was
joining
asking.
the podcast. But we're gonna take a break, guys, and we're gonna be right back with Millie. And everybody takes a few minutes, go to the bathroom, come back, but we're coming right back.
Okay.
to to hold these things,
Well,
to hold
yeah,
our
it's
data.
just like you would have the iCloud. You put everything in and it would host it. It's hosted by iCloud. That's a cloud. So when it comes to this, I have different vendors. I have over 200 vendors. Yeah, I have more like 300 to 400 vendors under me, but it's because of the different things that I do. Like there's a company called TPX, one that I'm working with out there with Berkeley and them. And what it does is it stores all of your data. Also comes in with you take it into a data storage unit or data storage, and all of you guys are able to pull it off from wherever. That's basically what the cloud is. It's up in the air and you're able to pull it off. So Azure is either one of them that's hosting it. There's different hosts for the cloud. And most of the time when I come in and sit with them, depending on what they do, they would give them the size, cloud that they would need or storage that they would need. But I always recommend cloud because if it's stored on your hard drive or on your hardware, you could be like, somewhere else and you can't pull it down. Like I was, or for different, like the one in I was working with earlier today, the church. They crack me up because they're out in Ohio, right? They have a large following in Ohio, but they're here in Arizona. Their actual location is in Arizona. So when it comes to a lot of their things, I'm like, you kind of instead of traveling with your actual computer, maybe put it in the cloud so you can still pull from both.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
when you asked me earlier with the question on, who do you trust? What do you do? Like, get someone that knows you, like not knows you, but knows your business and understands your business. Then they can do it. So I don't have to be, even though I know only the surface level as far as IT goes when it comes to a lot of things. They know the intricacies. They'll literally sit here where I'm like, they'll give you the whole, not just the Webster is what I joke with, not just the dictionary version of it, but they'll go through the encyclopedia version of whatever it is. But that's what they do. They sit there with the businesses. Certain things, as much as I've dealt with and gone through, they catch. Like SD-WAN, I know the surface level of it. I know when it comes to this in like with my internet, when it was spotty, I had to go into SD-WAN because that's what it does. I run off of my data plan. That's not working. Then I go into my mobile data and see if that's stronger. And my SD-WAN will kick it in automatically if I set it to that. And a lot of these bigger companies do that, where they have the SD-WAN. So if the internet is down, they're still able to get signal and their business still able to run. A lot of medical stations will need it. Some of these telemarketing firms, electricity and stuff go down, we're out. But if you still have data that's running, they can still make those calls, still make that money.
Okay, so this is some of the projects that you was doing. We got these. Okay, where is the technology side of this house? It's inside or?
hmm it's the actual. Hold on, let me get back to it. Yeah, it's the actual home. Like, yes, because we're able to put the security cameras, the floodlights. We didn't get them on there, but For DMR, I usually just put the IT part. My construction business is the sister companies. I leave that for my boys, as they say.
Okay, so what is the process for putting all this stuff together, like the land, the foundations of it, and deciding what? And well, I guess let me go back to the picture. In deciding what type of technology applies to the house, or is it a general, any house you make, or certain things go in there, or do you guys have to select certain stuff that it depends on the
So
climate, the
it does. It depends on
area?
the climate and the area. Because,
Mhm.
there are certain things I can do in Temecula. There's certain parts in Temecula where residential allows 2 chickens, 1 horse, 1 cow, and 3 goats, if I remember correctly. Then there's others. You know what I mean? There's different what's the word for it? Zones. So we have to go with the zoning. As far as technology goes, that does depend on your signal also. Because I can fit you all out for it. But then if you don't have any signal going out there, you just have fancy cameras around your house.
Okay.
Oh, that was so we took that into a warehouse in California. So that's what that post is. I went in, we brought in, I call it the puck, but we brought in, remember I told you that we can fit out a place where if your internet is out, it'll run off a data plan, and that's what's in those boxes. Tools for it. Infinite wireless, that's what that one is.
Is this inside? Is this an example of what you guys could build inside
Mhm.
the?
Yeah, and it's also one that we fitted for their IT. We went through tour the warehouse to see what they needed as far as security cams. We also were able to look in there and bring a vendor that was able to check as far as their heat if it was too hot for one of their contraptions. And then for another one, we went to, that's one of the gentlemen I work with in LA. He was the one we went to next for his warehouse to look at not only how to build it, but what he needed in that warehouse to keep track of all of his things, supply.
Okay.
So the yellow guy, he's see up there where it says Nextiva. That's one of my vendors, and they supply for all of the colleges. And so this was a vendor sponsored event with some of my clients at U of A, who, by the way, my nephew is the quarterback and the running back there. So
Welcome back, everybody. I want you guys to know if when you're out there with your kids and you're trying to get your kids to learn about education and the importance of standing up for who you are, think about this interview because she's really shown us that the power to believe in you is strong enough. You can do anything. So we're back. Let's ask her some more questions and see where else she could teach us, ladies and gentlemen. Your head, Razak, on you.
Okay. Well, this is kind of a more since you in the technology world type of questions. If you could create any technology product or service, no matter how ridiculous you may think it may be, what would it be?
like for technology is for convenience, right? That's what it is. So if I could, I would literally have everything streamlined for any needs or wants that I have, where I wouldn't have to pick up my finger to do anything and I could go and do what I like to do as far as business goes. Even in life, it's all for convenience, right?
Mm-hmm.
So instead of
Yeah.
I would order my drink and somebody would go get it. They would It would just be made there.
You're picking the simple things. I would be like, man,
Yeah,
you know, you can just go,
that's
you know,
too.
a lot of other stuff I want that, you know, AI to do, you know. But that's you. I appreciate that. Now, get
Yeah.
the drink. That margarita's got to come right here.
Right there.
Yeah.
Don't let me get up. Just bring it here. To
Yeah.
follow me when I do get up, you know.
So, okay, how do you see technology impacting the industries outside of the traditional tech sectors, such as healthcare or education?
It already has. Like it already is. I mean, we're able to have virtual doctor's appointments now. We're getting, you know, our prescriptions already sent in and then all of a sudden arriving at our house. Construction, delivery, it's already infiltrating in so many different fields that you wouldn't think of that now they've made possible. You know, like think about it when we do the firemen, you know, going up to rescue someone up on a mountain. Now they're sending up drones. And when the drone locates you, then they send out, you know, the firefighters to the actual location instead of the whole canvassing they used to. But also in the same hand, look at how intricate things are. Not only that, but how easy it is to get hacked now. You know how easy it is to get robbed because everything literally is virtual. The I went to the NFL game where Cardinal Stadium. It's cardless. I mean, it's cashless. It's all card. So it's like what? You know, that's the finances now, which is it's just nothing really you know, needing there's nothing out there that IT isn't a part of and hasn't infiltrated. And if it is, let me know. You know, I'm always push me to my limits.
Push me to my limits.
Yeah, AI is writing our documentaries, writing our papers for us, writing our, you know, our theories. It's
When you can't write a thank you letter no more, it's done by AI. It's a wrap. You know, nobody's even saying thank you the way they're supposed to. They press a button and say thank you. That's it. You know, so it's a hard world to live in, but to some extent we're benefiting from it in some aspects, especially those people that live out in the rural area. So, question is, talk a little bit about life lesson. You know, what is one of your life lessons that you could put together, you know, over your time, and you say, you know what, that taught me a very special lesson, and I will bring that forward. And not only am I going to bring it forward, I'm going to make sure I tell other people about it so they either do not do or they learn from me as well.
their paradigm is not yours. Meaning many times we sit here and we run after and fight for the standard that others put upon us, and we lose a lot of ourselves unknowingly. Where I feel like we need to acknowledge ourselves more than that of what is placed upon us. Like for a long time, it was you're the ugliest. You know, maybe not. You know, not gonna be like the gorgeous supermodel, but I am according to my son, right? And it's like we have to we have to be the one to set our own standard, and we have to be able to accept it, right? So a lot of times we like our parents, they didn't know any better. Mine didn't, right? Mine didn't to an extent. They knew a lot of great ones, but there were certain things where they fell short, but that was the best they can. It's our duty to stand up and set better, a more open and better realm for those that are coming next, right? Like I tell my kids all the time, you literally people pay thousands to look like you. You know, you wake up, wash your hair, because there are girls out there paying, you know, hundreds, if not 1,000 a month just to get long curly hair, you know, or brown skin, they're in these tanning booths, and you know what I mean? Your lips, injection, all of this. We have to accept ourselves in our individuality. You know, our individuality is important because that's literally what makes us unique. You know, we're not all cookie cutters. We may all fall under the same umbrella to an extent, but not. We are our own fingerprint. We we're literally that unique. So embrace it, accept it. And if somebody tells you otherwise, give me a call.
No, that's a powerful statement coming from a woman because I think when you talk about, you know, looks or talk about the hair or talk about the skin color, you're right. There's a whole industry built on providing those services to, darken your skin, to curl your hair. There's wigs. There's all kinds of things people are doing out there. So I think when you speak as a woman to other women, other young girls that are out there, and letting them know the importance of having faith in who they are, believing in who they are, and recognizing that who they are is special. Because as a parent, sometimes you talk about generationally wise, not everybody understood that. They were always looking at beauty and all of the pictures and all the magazines and the stuff that was out talk about on TV that we would want our kid to look or be like, and forgetting that the person that's standing in front of you have so many other attributes, so many other gifts that are not tapped in. And if you don't tap into them, they die sometimes and within that
Mm-hmm.
person, and they don't believe that they are special. So when you talk like that and when you bring that up, and to our viewers and people that are listening, that's a powerful statement for women, and we want you to just elaborate on that just a little bit more, of talking directly to those girls that are out there, those young women that are out there that may have ran into some of these barriers or fake walls, as I call it, because they really just stood up just to stop you from being who you really are. So, talk a little bit about that.
Well, it was like it's not something that I'm not guilty of, right? I literally just went through a pageant competition because I I was labeled, labeled. I didn't grow up in a ideal household, right? My mom nor my dad, they weren't the ones to raise me. My mother's family did. And with that being said, they did their best. I love my aunts and uncles, but just like all of us, we are limited to certain things. And they were I'm first generation born and raised here. So there was a lot of things where they were fighting to for them and their views to empower me so I can be more Americanized, right? Forgetting that being Tongan helps me stand out. Being strong helps me stand out. And that's literally what the American Foundation is built on, right? Us coming in here and being stronger. But and progressing. But when it came to this, it was a thing when going through the pageantry. I had a lot of women who have done this before. This is what they do. They all have their own well, most of them have their own clothing line. If not, they want to be models and things like that. And I'm standing here like, yo, I just want to get through this pageant so I could tell my kids I did it, so my girls can feel encouraged that we can join a beauty pageant. We're not just built for whatever education we decide to go into. We're not built for just business or sports, right? Or vocals, but that we can go into other industries too. And I didn't want my kids to think that we couldn't. So what's funny about it was my son. I thought that this would be for my daughters, but it was my son. Like he has grown so much, gained so much confidence in myself being in this pageant more than my daughters did, because now he can stand amongst where he's at. Geographically, he's in Utah. And so, he just has a lot of different demographics around him where now he's like, yo, I'm Tongan. I'm literally Tongan. And he stands on it and knows his individual worth in it. Whereas with women, it was kind of funny because we walk with everything. And And I guess that the hair, the nails, all of this, it's great, but is it for you? You know, I kind of laugh because, again, single woman going through this, I made a statement to some guy. I was like, no, I'm here to impress you. Like, I'm not here to tailor to others. I'm interested in this relationship. This is where, and then I had to catch myself like, no, wait a minute. So it was fun because at the end of the day, when the pageantry came down and we did our walk, we had to go through all these gowns and dressing and everything. When the pictures came and we were to post them, the founders and everybody, they told me, they're like, hey, don't forget to tag your makeup artist, your hairstylist, and all of this. And I was like, I tagged the photographer. And they're like, no, Mele, take down your post. They're like, you forgot your makeup artist and stuff. And I'm like, I didn't have one because I didn't wear makeup because I'm just not a makeup girl. First off, Arizona, you guys, is hot. And I'm going to say, like, I more than glow. I was sweating and I wasn't about to stand there with whatever it is that they have to put, these blessed women put on as far as makeup go. And I'm like, just, it wasn't for me. It's not my thing. This is me. But for those that do wear it, I'm not dinging you at all. Just remind yourself it's for you, right? If you're doing it for others, then, it's not really an investment you want because it'll never be enough. But when you come to accepting that you are enough, makeup does what it does, you know.
I think that is powerful, and I really do appreciate you doing that. And I have to ask you this last question, and then you can answer it the best way I think you can, and I know you will. Talk about legacy. Talk about what you're doing and why you're doing it, and what you've learned from, the legacy of your family and what you're trying to provide to your son as well and your daughter.
My legacy is important to me. It tells.
First of all, it's okay. It's a powerful thing. It's okay.
They're the reason why I'm breathing, right? I flatlined twice. At a young age, I had a stroke, so don't think you can't have a stroke at a young age because you can. And like I said, I'm 43, and I have no shame in saying it. I know it's unnatural to you American women, but you know what? Not a lot of us make it to this. So celebrate that you are there or beyond it, and where you're at, because it's not promised to us. So with that being said, my legacy is important. I I'm my dad says we can't be the black sheep of the family because if you haven't noticed, we're black. So um we're definitely the white sheep of the family, and we're definitely the ones to either take front page or centerfold. And that's his phrase he always tells me. Um I didn't get to grow up with him until I didn't build a relationship with my father until my divorce. And then from then until now, he's been, my guy that I get to talk to and whatnot. And so with this, I used to think that I needed to empower women. And I'm like, we need to understand the importance of the men and the women and how our roles are vital within each other to empower each other, right? And so for my legacy, I can't sit here and to say that we're not would mean that I give more value to my daughters than my son. And my legacy is incomplete without them all. So um, I love this because it gives me an opportunity. I used to joke and say I couldn't cut it in the medical field because of my health, but this allows me still to do what I like to do, which is to serve others, to find ways where I can empower others and enable them to know that they can. Because a lot of us culturally, we're the first ones to tear apart each other or to sit here and be like, oh no, you know, um, they can't do it like me. No, they can't, but you could help them so they could find a way where they can do it like them, just like you're doing it like for yourself and yours. So encourage each other's individuality. My legacy is on my mother's side, I'm a mataile, so that means I'm a diamond, right? And um this is our talent. The women in that family they always say they're crazy, but it's because of that. We push our limits and we literally figure it out and make it happen. And then I was talking to my dad literally yesterday morning, and he was like, "Hey, I want you to remember something." And I was like, "What?" And he goes, if you pursue anything, and any of your children, they pursue anything in the law or in sports, we're built for that. Like that's what we're built for. And I was like, what do you mean? He told me of his journey that him and his brother made, where they literally came from this little island and decided to pick up boxing, and they were traveling all around the world. And so I was like, the resilience, right? And that, where you wouldn't think from wherever little corner these guys came from that these galoots would end up, traveling the world. And that's where I'm at, where it's like, our history is important, because I told my dad, I was like, did you know your grandson was number 5 in the nation? He goes, oh, of course. And I was like, well, I didn't know we had those capabilities. Like I thought like, wow, my son. And I was like, had I known something, had I known about that. And also with my father, since my divorce, that he was really vital for the who I became now. As smart and great as I was from what my mother's side of the family built, my father's gave me the comfort to just gun it and go for it. It's okay to be different. We're built to endure, and we're resilient. So when it comes to legacy, that's definitely what this is for. It's to leave it to my kids, and or for those that want to. My kids already know. I'm like, if it's not you guys, it's gonna finance what you want, but somebody that's willing and wants to, they'll take it. So that's where I stand as far as my legacy.
Okay.
I really want to thank you for taking the time to do that. And I see the importance of it to you. Not many people understand that. So it's just a powerful thing to be able to show so much love for the people that you want to give to help lift them up as well, and so they don't have to go through what you did, and you're showing that every day by the person you are, the character you portray and everything. So I really want to say, thank you for sharing that with our audience, and I'm sure they're going to receive it as a positive thing to spread as well. So thank you so much for that. I like to ask you this, and take a minute and you know talk about things that we may have not asked you, something that you might want to get across that we may not have asked you, and then you know how you get a hold of you, the name of the business again, phone number, and just do that part, and take a minute to say speak on anything else.
So for me, just going off of what we've already spoken, and I'm gonna take my cue from there, because we've just come along the lines of mental health and empowering others. Literally, I was gifted this business, and I'm going to give his tribute because he deserves it. I was gifted this business by a felon, a man who was you know, he spent years of his life, and and his thing was, he's like, you know what, I just don't know anything. I don't know how to do anything but that, and it's just going to take me back. He goes, but I lost time to spend time with my kids. And I looked at him and I was like, what do you mean? And he's like, I know you'll never give me a chance because of this. But he was calling it him being honest. And I told him, I said, you've already proven that you've been successful in building a business. Can you imagine how wildly successful you would be in the light when you don't have to creep around in the dark? And that's why I didn't get a bouquet of flowers. But I just want to tell you guys, like, don't let the social media and the world label you in such a way where you feel like you don't have any other way. You know, um, I'm for it. Like I'm here for it all. I can't say that I know anything about that life because, again, other people had to live that life so that I could be where I'm at today. Um, I have family members that lived on that side of the fence and whatnot. So I'm just at a point where it's like I would really like to help in any way that I can. For your business and IT, that's what I do to make a living. But when it comes to, that's what I do as far as making a living. But as a person, an individual, you have that there where thankfully, because of what I do, I come across other entities where they can. Like today, he had a hard time finding me because I had a gentleman, he posted on his social media, he said, I'm done. He's like, this is crappy. And, people were responding to it like it was a joke. And I just messaged him in private and I was like, hey, is this one of those jokes or are you serious? Do you need someone to talk to? And he didn't respond, so I called him. I've only known him because our paths have crossed at some of these gatherings, but I don't know him as a person. We literally probably exchanged a hello or two. But he posted it. So I reached out and today was the day. And we had to stay on that line. And I was not the one. So I had to reach out while keeping him on the line to find someone that could, right? So that's why for me, it's like, even though the story is not that I was the one, it was just sometimes you just have to pick up because you may be the one that'll be able to connect them somewhere, in whatever it is for their progression, whether it's in business, whether in this case is to save them so that they could see one more day. So you could be that breath of hope or just that one last laughter. But we never know. So connection network, it comes more than just for business, you guys. In this case, like I said, we didn't know each other past two hellos, but today was the day where I was just like, I had to. But I wasn't the one, right? I wasn't the one that was there to talk him off from that. But I was the one to catch it, and the one to pass them on to someone who could. Because like I said, as much as I wanted to, I knew for sure I was not the one for that situation, for that moment. So I would encourage us all, literally just, if you see it, answer it. You don't have to be the one with the answers. You could be the one just to connect them to the answers. And, for business too, I'm not going to be the one for all of your answers, but I would like to be the one to, lead you to the right one if I'm not the one.
Okay.
I am.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm so proud of you. I really am proud of
Mm-hmm.
you. You are a strong black, brown, whatever you want to call one. But you are definitely someone that needs to be on a show to tell that story, to tell that. So I thank you with all my heart, for coming on the show, for being so vulnerable and sharing. This is just such a a blessing to all of us that are listening to you. So KF&JF podcast is definitely better because of you. And we thank you so much for coming on to the show today. And I'm gonna let you go um, and rejoice in who you are, and you know, stay positive as you can. And thank you again. Thank you again. I hope this podcast. I know you may not have been on the podcast before, but thank you for coming on with us.
Thank you for having me. I'm so humbled and grateful. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. We're gonna